Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T here with Claudia Gadelha, who of course is fighting Cynthia Calvillo in Washington, D.C. later on this year. That's in December. I'm very much looking forward to that fight. Listen, baby girl, I feel like it's been a minute since we've seen you fight. How you feeling?
I feel good. I actually was hurt. You know, I broke my finger in my last fight, and I also twisted my ankle. So those last 2 months, I was just taking care of my body and healing my body. Now it's time to work, so I'm heading to New Jersey and going for camp. I feel good mentally. I'm gonna be ready for this because I'm sure Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida will make me work, and I'm ready for that.
Well, they have such a great reputation, and fighters really seem to respond to their system and everything. So what was it that made you decide to go train with them? Because you've tried out a couple of gyms.
Yeah, I tried a couple of gyms, and I feel like I was trying to find a good place, but I wasn't getting the system. It was very hard for me in the beginning, you know, but like the first time I worked with those guys, I was like, that's it. You know, I felt like I was back in Brazil, doing the jiu-jitsu I like, doing the wrestling I like, you know, and Mark, obviously, you know, he's a great striking coach. So I feel like Mark and Ricardo, they put things together very well. And also Ricardo speaks Portuguese. You know, I had trouble in my corner in the past having people speaking English to me the whole time, and I was like, I'm just not picking up anymore, you know. So it's kind of like a rule right now. I want to have a Brazilian in my corner always, because I feel like when the fight starts to get intense, I kind of forget about the English. I don't know what they're saying. So like Mark is always making Ricardo translate everything for me in Portuguese, and which is a lot easier for me. I feel like this system, it's perfect for me right now.
You know, I would imagine it gets frustrating because, yeah, your brain's trying to process things. I know for me, if I'm speaking Portuguese, if I'm tired, it's harder. So I can't imagine getting somebody punching me in the face while I was supposed to be doing it too. But, you know, we've talked to you about, you know, ups and downs in your career and things that you learned from, you know, defeats. Have you learned over the years more about yourself here? Like, you've had great highs, but then there's a couple of bumps in the road. So what have you been learning about yourself?
I feel like, you know, like I'm spending more time learning about myself now, and also the mind game, you know, like the mindset. And also I feel like the ego was involved a lot in my career. You know, the last couple of years, I was like, just when I made it to the UFC, I was just like that girl coming up that everybody used to fear. And then I lost one fight, and then won another one, and then I lost the other one, and I was like, maybe it's not really it. You know, I had all that fire, all that build coming to the UFC, but then I feel like I let the ego get involved in my career, you know, like, and also leaving Brazil, moving to America by myself, all this together, you know, it's so hard to process, you know. So I feel like lately I've been spending a lot of time by myself, learning about myself, and having the right people around me to motivate me and to keep me pushing, because I've been in this game for 12 years.
Well, that's great, and that's also something that's very brave to admit, because a lot of people don't admit if their ego was keeping them from success or whatever. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't admit that, so that's great that you are able to do that.
Yes, it's very hard to admit, and also it's hard to admit for myself. Like, I have an ego, and I gotta deal with it. Like, in my ego, it's messing my career, you know. Like, so let's work on it and see what are you doing right, what you're doing wrong, and see what's the perfect balance for you. That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of goodwill toward you, but also, Claudia, everybody always wants to know who you're dating. Like, what is the deal with that? Because you mentioned one thing about Ortega's babies one day, and then the next thing you know, everybody's like, oh my God, she's going to have. But literally, everybody wants to know who you're dating all the time. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, like the whole Ortega thing, it's just because I want to have a white baby with blue eyes, you know? Like, this is the whole thing. I want a white baby with blue eyes. And
and your eyes are very dark brown. Listen, mine are too. I married a guy with light green brown eyes. My baby girl has hazel eyes.
Right, so that's why I need somebody like Ortega. But right now I'm single, you know. I've been single for a couple of years now. I'm just living life, concentrating on myself, not dating anyone.
But you know, the ladies love, like, you're like an equal opportunity. Like, you have fans on both sides. Everybody, like, literally, I told you this before. When you used to walk into Fox, everyone's like, oh shit, Claudia's coming. And like, all of us were like, let me do my lipstick. We're like, Claudia's coming. So you have that effect on people.
Well, I'm here, you know. I'm just like waiting for the right person. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
All right, well, now that I've embarrassed you a little bit, I'm going to play some games with you. Something new we're doing here called No Wrong Answer. So, Claudia, we're going to have 3 questions for you. Just reach in there and pull 3 out. Some of them might be fight-related and some of them won't, but none of them will be asking you who you're dating. So.
Okay, I'm scared now.